everyone, Gabriel Joy here, and welcome! This is our very first YouTube video here. Woo! So, if you don't know who I am, hey, my name is Gabriel. I also go by Joy. I use any pronouns, and I'm a writer, illustrator, and animator. I make comics on Instagram at Gabriel Joy and on Webtoon Canvas, and I have motion comic versions of those stories on my other channel, Sunflower Workshop. I work part-time as a video editor, I'm a freelance illustrator, I play ukulele, and as of this recording, I'm about to start graduate school studying comics. The best way to enjoy this video is, well, however you like, but if you want to get some artwork done, now's the time to jump in. Begin drawing when you're ready. Ready? Go. So this isn't my first time starting a YouTube channel. I uploaded a few vlogs and animated videos when I graduated high school, especially videos about completing the National Novel Writing Month Challenge, or NaNoWriMo. I always felt like it'd be so fun to run a channel on art, writing, and creativity, but it's been hard to keep a consistent schedule. Running a channel is a lot of work. I have a new plan now, and I'm going to try to upload as much as I can during the fall. And we'll see what happens. Today's video is brought to you by a little place called AuthorTube, basically the YouTube side for writers and authors. Now, I'm not really an author in the traditional sense anymore. Like, I write, obviously, but I also draw my own stories too, in the form of comics. But I learned so much about writing and storytelling from folks in the AuthorTube community, and one trend that I love is the AuthorTube newbie tag, originally created by Jenna Streety. It's where you answer a series of questions to introduce yourself to the world. Since I'm also an illustrator too, I edited the questions just a bit. But if you're an artist as well as a writer, feel free to borrow it. So let's call it, I don't know, the not-quite-authortube newbie tag. Anyway, let's begin. Question 1. Who are your favorite writers and artists on YouTube? I'll list some of my favorites in the description, but a few that come to mind are a lot of the ones I grew up watching on AuthorTube. YouTubers like Jenna Moreci, Shaylin Wright, Lily Mead, just to name a few. I also really like channels like Overly Sarcastic Productions and Terrible Writing Advice. They do a really great job at breaking down stories and especially storytelling tropes. Bookish Pixie has always been one of my favorites too, with their short and sweet writing tips. He even answered one of my questions once. So cute. As for artists over the years I really enjoyed, McKay and Gray's art vlogs, especially their 100 Days of Comics challenge, which just takes you through the whole comic making process. Super, super useful. I've gotten a lot of inspiration and some great tutorials from Brooks at Character Design Forge, and recently really enjoying the content over at the Starfish Face, who has like a 1 hour long video about making webcomics that's absolutely fantastic. Also, just for fun, I'll throw in a few non-art related channels in the description too. I really like Nintendo and animated movies, as you'll see. Question 2. What genres do you write in? Many, but I mainly lean towards superhero and sci-fi, with a little bit of slice of life elements. I create nonfiction comics as well, especially while I was an undergrad, but I think fiction is where I really find my flow. I kind of call it the Spider-Man story. Like, no story I want to pick up faster than a story about someone who's got to defeat a supervillain, but they can't because they have a math quiz. It's great. The balance of mundane and the fantastic is really good stuff for me. A lot of my stories tend to explore Black, trans, and queer experiences as well. Question number 3. What is your preferred writing tense, point of view, and category of story? Children's, YA, NA, adults, etc. Present tense, third person most of the time. Present tense mainly comes from my screenwriting experience, and most of my work is considered children's or middle grade, though I would love to dabble in more YA stuff one day. Question 4. Are you a plotter, pantser, or plantser? Okay, so if you don't know, plotter is someone who plans, they outline or plot before they write. A pantser is someone who just writes without a plan or by the seat of their pants, and a plantser is a little bit of both. I'm definitely a plotter, like maybe to an unhealthy degree. I can spend a lot of time in the planning process. But it's one of the most fun parts for me, figuring out how all the pieces of a story fit together. I just sometimes get trapped there and never actually write the story. Question number 5. Are you self-published, published, or yet to be published? Self-published at the moment, mainly printing through online vendors to sell at cons. But it's a lot of work. The goal is to find a publisher one day. Question number 6. What is your dream publishing house or literary agent? Definitely Scholastic's graphics books. That would be incredible. Their collection is also fantastic. Though Oni Press also has a great selection. Imagine being on the same website as Scott Pilgrim books. Question number 7. What videos can we expect to find on your channel? This YouTube channel is a bit of a behind the scenes channel, so like a look behind the curtain on some of the comics and stories and other projects that I'm working on. And maybe just a place to talk about things I'm obsessed with at the moment, like movies, games, and shows. I also want to bring on some of my friends to talk about their projects and draw a bit as well. But I also want this channel to be for you, so if you have any questions about the work and life of a, I guess, semi-professional artist like myself, feel free to ask them. I really want to make sure you feel safe, seen, and inspired here, and something you can just turn on and draw to. Question 8. When did you start writing? When did you start drawing? I started writing stories in 3rd grade at least. I was obsessed with chapter books like The Magic Treehouse, Hank the Cowdog, Geronimo Stilton, the Magic School Bus chapter book series, just to name a few, and I really wanted to write my own series. So I would write and draw superhero stories for class with my original characters, which eventually became my first webtoon, Superdog and the Pep Crew. Which leads perfectly into question 9. What was the first comic you ever made? I feel like this is hard to pinpoint. Like, the marker messes I made in kindergarten, are those comics? Maybe? But it was probably one of those chapter books I mentioned that I made for class. I don't remember the exact plot, but one time the Superdog characters went to an aquarium and they broke like all the fish out of the aquarium. This is like years before Finding Dory too, by the way, which, spoiler, is something that happens in that movie. Hilarious. I'd love to find some old stories to show here one day. Question number 10. What creators have inspired you the most? So many, y'all. It's kind of hard to choose. But believe it or not, I didn't really grow up reading a lot of comics, and I owe a lot of my inspiration to cartoons and movies. Showrunners like Rebecca Sugar, Ian Jones-Cordy, Matt Browley, Dana Terrace, directors like Domi Shi, Pete Docter, Phil Lord, and Chris Miller. It's probably in the last 3 or 4 years that I really started to read graphic novels, and this is such a great place for stories, y'all. Some of my favorite comic artists are Maya Kobabe, The Cow, Ngozi Kazu, Svetlana Shmakova, Julia Kay, Molly Ostertag, Jen Wong, and Jerry Craft, just to name a few. Also, if anyone knows any comics similar to those authors, please let me know. I want to read more comics. Question 11. Do you schedule your work sessions or simply get to writing whenever you find time? Definitely more the latter. School and work keeps me really busy, though when I do have deadlines, I typically like to work early in the mornings. My inner editor is just too tired to wake up, so I tend to get a lot more done then. Question 12. What tools do you use to make your comics, and where do you work in general? I typically write in Google Docs, though I have been moving to using an actual scriptwriting software in Highland 2 for Mac, which isn't too expensive and has great shortcuts. I also really like how clean and not busy it is to write in, along with the custom colors. I draw on my original iPad Pro, which was a hand-me-down from like 5 years ago. Hasn't let me down yet, knock on wood. And I use Procreate, which can be downloaded on the App Store. It's also pretty inexpensive at the moment. Please don't make it a subscription, please. I used to add text in Photoshop, but Procreate text tool from the last update works fine. And finally, question 13. What are you most looking forward to now that you're on YouTube? Absolutely helping build a community. In my undergrad at university, I helped lead an animation club on my campus. Some of the most fun I've had in undergrad, being able to talk about art and work on art together. It's been hard leaving that behind and moving on to new places, but I hope my channel can be just that for you. And while I don't expect this channel to blow up, I mean, we are pretty niche here. If I can make at least one person feel like their art matters, that's a win. And that's it. Feel free to answer these questions on your own in the comments. I'll also ask again, I want to know, what topics do you want me to cover here? It can be about making comics, creating characters, existing stories you want me to talk about, whatever. Also, if you happen to be a creator here on YouTube or any other platforms and got tips on running a channel, let me know. I'd really appreciate it. That's all for now. Until next time, stay smart, keep it fun, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!